Survivor Series 2025 is in the books, and if you came for moments, a mystery attacker, a big return, Iyo Sky diving off the cage in a trash can, and baby faces giving you the dramatic CW-style stare down, you probably walked away from this PLE feeling pretty full. But if you like things like cohesive wrestling, real stakes, and war games that feel like an actual war instead of a 3-hour TikTok sampler, that show might have gone down like a lukewarm arena coffee or tea. Let's pull the kettle on and drop some on the Survivor Series. What up, everyone? Welcome back to the Tea Drop, the only wrestling breakdown show where we don't just call out the spots, we call out the drama, the chaos, and the no soft behavior energy. Tonight we're talking about Survivor Series 2025 from Petco Park in San Diego. WWE called this a Big Four Stadium PLE, but what they actually delivered was a 4-match card. Women's WarGames, John Cena's final PLE singles match, a women's world title match, and the men's WarGame as the main event. On paper, stacked. In execution, it felt a lot closer to a B show in a stadium cosplay than a must-see classic. And hanging over everything, 2 weeks ago, AEW Blood and Guts just happened with the first women's double cage match in the company's history. Those matches were violent and emotionally hot. In terms of that, the WarGames had to be clear and meeting. And I don't mean the spew of blood everywhere. I mean the level of emotion and the level of violent match. And not ridiculous violent. If, like right now, the WarGames that we had felt a very PG, when you know a WarGame should be more higher than that. But we didn't get that. So, alright, let's get into this. So the show opens with the women's WarGames. We get Team Face, Team Heel. We get Rhea Ripley, Iyo Sky, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee going against Asuka, Kairi Sane, Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, and the new call-up for the main roster, Lash Legend. First, weird call of the night instead, or just different. Instead of the classic WarGames visual with people locked into mini cages, WWE goes with a Rumble-style staggered entries. No holding cells, no tension shots, just a countdown. Not fatal, but it instantly makes this feel less like WarGames and more like a multi-man cage match with a timer. So, no shark cages. No shark cages at all. Don't know why. Could be that there was so many in the men's side. All the men were huge. I discussed it with a few of you online yesterday. That it could be so tiny shark cage space to big guys. Well, WWE could have made a bigger cage. I don't know. It's not hard for them to make these cages, especially if they know ahead of time what they're going to use. So, it was weird. Part of the enjoyment of watching WarGames is also seeing them in the cages and seeing them decide on their own, even though it may be storylined already. Just seeing how they play out, who's going to go out next, who's going to go out. Am I going to hold my hand out to prevent you from going out and calling someone else to go instead, a la Roman Reigns? Those kind of things give it a little more oomph in the story. And especially with what happened on Raw, with Roman getting mad at Cody saying, "This is welcome to my team," it would have been interesting to see that dynamic play out in the shark cage. Because both of them didn't come out first. It was CM Punk who came out first. So having that tension between Roman and Cody would have been nice to see in the shark cage. But we didn't get that. So it is what it is. But anyway, let's continue with the match. We start with Charlotte and Asuka. Great pairing to start off the WarGames. If you see Charlotte, she's one thing I wanted to point out. It's cool that she... shout out to her for putting on a gear that was designed by a girl fighting cancer. A girl fan. She designed the outfit for her, and as an expression of gratitude, she wore it for this WarGames match. So, and she was there. You should see her tapping the kid's hand. They do the heart symbol. It was very nice of Charlotte. I know she plays a heel, confident person, but she is a nice person in real life. So, and she's a good-hearted person. So it's nice to see that kind of moment for the fan. So I'm sure it'll be cherished forever, even though this show was whatever. And then Asuka comes out, usual Asuka ways, but it was a good start for the match. Strikes, kicks, chops, suplexes, some nice sequences that showed that they can absolutely hold it down like they did on SmackDown. But even in these first minutes, it doesn't feel like a blood feud. It feels like a normal TV match that we saw the night before, but it just happens to be on a cage that time. Iyo Sky enters nets with her personalized trash can lid. She has a nice trash can lid saying Iyo Sky. If you guys haven't seen, if you guys are toy collectors, Iyo Sky just got released a new toy line with a signature trash can, because now she's known as the girl in the WarGames that jumps off with a trash can, which is fine. So I think it's just a play on that. It's cool that it says Iyo Sky instead of Mattel. I appreciate that. Give her the signature. Yeah, Asuka's face paint was great in this match. Look at that. It was beautiful. As always, Asuka always has a good presentation package on her. So she has a slight slip on the springboard, but she recovered well, Iyo Sky. And we get some fun double ring visuals, grinding faces on the steel, quick pace, classic Iyo chaos. Still, the intensity's hovering at like 6 out of 10 at that point. Then, the man, Becky Lynch, comes into the arena with a kendo stick. And that should be where the match really kicked into gear. Instead, the layout turns into a muddled mix of Becky and Charlotte almost teaming, then fighting, which was weird. Asuka crashing the party, some stereo suplexes, some strikes. It's not bad, but there's no clear idea of this is Becky's showcase or this is Asuka's dominant run. It's just stuff. Then Alexa Bliss enters with no weapons, which is fine. In a WarGames match, I feel like you would get fined for that, but okay. She and Charlotte hit stereo natural selections and some double team, which was pretty nice. But then we get long stretches where everyone is just waiting for the clock in WarGames. That's insane. That they could have done so much more, but yeah. Kairi Sanes comes out finally after they waited for the clock to run out, and she brings some much needed creativity. Green chain wrapped around her fist, Superman punch off Charlotte's back, hanging triangle choke, and then the heels trying to tie these people together and go for a double big drop kick shot, which is probably a cool thing to see during this match. This finally getting to a point and it's finally feeling right. Then AJ hits the ring. Becky tries to hold the door shut, so AJ climbs the cage. She gets a big pop for doing that. Like, you knew look, this woman is so fit at this point versus her old time when she was here prior that she can do anything. So her climbing the cage probably looked like easy business for her. So she gets a big pop, hits a crossbody on Asuka and Kairi. So she, from the top, comes down, bounces Becky off the cage, and looks a lot sharper than her return match. So she definitely picked it up from WrestlePalooza. They tease a big AJ versus Asuka showdown, then kind of move past it before it really landed. Then you hear the dum, dum, and then Nia Jax enters. And I'm saying dum dum because that's the song, not because of her footsteps. Don't think like that. Nia Jax enters and does Nia things, running over Bliss and Charlotte, hip attack into the cage, big power bomb on Iyo. She's a credible monster, but the layout doesn't build around that. It's more like Nia kills someone, everyone moves on, repeat. Rhea Ripley becomes the face anchor, So the final one, rocking a Terrifier-inspired mask and dragging in a trash can and kendo sticks. She finally brings that WarGames energy. So she's wearing the Terrifier. If you guys haven't seen in WWE shop, it looks like Terrifier and Rhea Ripley are doing a collab in gear. So there's a lot of merch online with her and Terrifier. So this was part of the big promo. She's wearing a clown, the Terrifier clown mask. Well, he doesn't wear a mask, but it's a mask inspired by it. So it looked fantastic. It was really good. But anyway, she comes in, she boots Kairi, throws a trash can at Nia, top rope dropkick on Jax, prism lock on Sane, while Iyo dropkicks a trash can over her. It's a great combo. One of the few truly memorable sequences in the match. Finally, Lash Legend, and this is the best photo I can find of her. And the pace dies, unfortunately. She looked hesitant at first, spends a lot of time standing and figuring out what to do next. She hits a few big moves, chokeslam, slow motion powerbomb, but nothing smooth or confident. I mean, it's her first PLE. It's her first PLE. It's her first big match, so I understand the nervousness. It's not on her. It's on the WWE for not giving her more matches before this. But she clearly wasn't ready for the high-pressure crowd, timed environment yet. It drags everything down. We get expected closing montage after this. Asuka does a missed misfire and nails Lash on the face, which that's unfortunate. She faces Rally and cleans house. Rhea and Charlotte double suplex Nia. Alexa hits her twisted bliss. And then, what everyone was expecting, our one and only Iyo climbs the cage. Rhea boosts AJ to hand her the trash can. And we get the trash can dive that we've seen Iyo Sky do for years now at a WarGames match. Off the top for the Please Go Viral clip. So don't expect this to go viral for the next couple of weeks. Becky tries to escape after all this because she was the only one left standing after this trash can dive. She tries to escape, but here comes AJ Lee, and she does one of my most favorite moves that a woman wrestler has done in years. The Black Widow. She gets hauled back in, eats a parade of finishers, and taps out to AJ Lee's Black Widow. And with that, you have your official WarGames winners in the women's side, which is AJ Lee, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Iyo Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Now, was this match outright bad? No. Did it feel like a WarGames match in a stadium on a Big 4 WWE show? Also no. The faces having the numerical advantage for most of the match killed all the classic WarGames drama. Lash Legend was exposed, unfortunately, because it's her first big match. And because of that, she may not get that elevated after this match. But that's not on her. Like I said, it's on WWE for doing that on her. So they have to do better for her the next time around. Outside of some flashes from Asuka, Becky, Rhea, and Iyo, nobody really came down of this feeling hotter, like a match. And when you put this next to the craziness that you saw in AEW Blood and Guts match from earlier this month, this one felt that one felt more dangerous, emotional, and historic. This feels like a PG match that could have gone a little further. I'm not saying it should go to the level that AEW tends to go, but they could have gone that in between what we saw yesterday and what we saw in AEW. If they want to go there, but they didn't. Because they went PG, it becomes to a thought that it never justified doing the WarGames stipulation. Honestly, this should have been just a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, what it should have been for this PLE. And I said that a few weeks ago, that's what it should have been. The cage didn't do anything. It didn't add anything at all, except the jump by Iyo Sky. It's it. So that was it for that match. And yeah, for anyone wondering, Rhea's wearing that mask to protect her face. She got hurt a few weeks ago, at least storyline wise. So they celebrated. Look at them happy. Anyway, let's move on to the next match. It is John Cena and Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. This was match number 2 of the night after a 45 minute WarGames match. The Intercontinental title was on the line, and Dominic Mysterio entered the ring with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez in his corner. They kept this simple very early. Cena headlocked Don, cheating and stomping as always. Perez and Raquel constantly interfering in the match. Split crowd slowly tilting in favor of Cena, especially given it's his final match. First big story beat, Dom goes for the Hurricanrana off the barricade, wipes out, and sells his shoulder and head being hurt. The ref calls for medics, commentary plays up the Penta comparison, crowd gets worried. So you see that, you see Cena worried, you see Cena go back into the ring just staying away while the medics do their thing. And little by little you start realizing it's a work. While the refs were distracted, Raquel hits a Tejana bomb, and then Roxanne hits a Pop Rocks on John Cena. And it was amazing that she was able to pull that off with John Cena. That was probably one of the funnest things I saw, because it was just amazing. A person that small was able to get that move done on John Cena. And then finally after that, you see Dom getting, all of a sudden he's better again, and he comes back into the ring, nails a 619 and a frog splash, and you think that was the win, and the ref refuses to count because he figured out he got played. That was pretty excellent, rare logical ref moment in WWE. Perez and Raquel eventually get ejected from the match, and we get the Cena greatest hit one last time. We get the shoulder blocks, the proto bomb, the final PLE 5-knuckle shuffle, attitude adjustment for a near fall, an STFU locked in, Dom desperately grabbing the ropes. Then we get the expected ref bump. Cena hits the ref, sending him down, and it's Judgment Day time. What do you expect, guys? It's Judgment Day. Finn Balor and JD McDonough run in, but Cena goes full tank for one last PLE time. Blocks a moonsault, dodges the coup de grace, and hits a double A on both men, standing tall, similar to what you've seen in other WrestleManias and event. Dom tries to use the IC title. Cena ducks, hits another AA, but there's still no ref to count. And then, here we go. What every thirsty guy out there was waiting for. Liv Morgan's music hits. She storms down, smacks Dominic, because she stares down at Dominic and eventually smacks him. Then she turns to Cena like she's turning babyface. And you would expect that probably if you saw the way Roxanne is going all on Dom, you can say, oh, this is possible. Then she jumps into Cena's arms, which is hilarious. She jumps in his arms, gets a big pop, and then hugs. But then you see the camera shoot at Liv Morgan's face and does the same face Cena did when he hugged Cody Rhodes a few months ago before he turned heel. And then she sends him a straight to low blow city. She hits Cena with a low blow. Similar moment that Cena did a few months ago. And then Dom hits the 619. Liv blasts Cena with the belt. Frog splash lands. The ref finally wakes up. Shocker. And counts the 1, 2, 3. And you get, once again, Dominic Mysterio as the Intercontinental Champion, going back to being a double champ. Is this Now, is this match overbooked to hell? Absolutely, but it is still one of the most entertaining segments of this night. It was. It was one of the most entertaining segments beyond a shadow of the doubt, in my opinion. Liv aligning with Dom obviously is 100% the right move. Their act always works out together. Cena letting everyone get their shots. You got Dom, you get Roxanne, Raquel, Finn, JD, and Liv is exactly how a legend should go out. As a wild sports entertainment circus, it was a big win for WWE, the way they go about things. As the supposed final PLE singles match of Cena's career, it feels more like a chaotic Raw main event than a definite last chapter, but we're probably going to get that at Saturday Night main event. We're going to get the really good match everyone expects on the Saturday Night main event. This was just a great match to put Dom over. And not only that, Dom not only got put over by John Cena decided to put over every other freaking talent aligned with Dom. It was a fun moment. It was a nice dance for John Cena, but that's how we see John Cena's PLE career end. Moving on to Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella for the Women's World Championship. It was, as you guys haven't heard, Nikki has turned heel. She is fearless, mean, or whatever. She had an interesting heel outfit that I'm sure a lot of single guys have screenshotted now. But yeah, that is a definite interesting moment for her, and she is now officially a heel as of 2 weeks ago. But let's move on to this match. Let me scroll to it. There we go. Nikki. The match started with Nikki jumping Vaquer from behind. She chokes her in the ropes, and we quickly slide into a painfully familiar pattern that we've seen in these matches. Vaquer hits a sharp offense, drop kick, corner work, a few good combinations. Nikki hits a move, then walks around, gestures, soaks the crowd, heelish fashion, she chokes on the ropes and walks some more. The crowd is quiet for most of this. Not booing, and not even mad, just not engaged with this match at this point. At this point, given that there are 4 matches, even if we had long breaks in between, I guess people were just taking a break from all the chanting after these matches, and they were probably worn out after the John Cena match. So obviously we're going to see one match with a lot of people not engaged. So Vaquer does everything she can, hanging armbar from the top, back suplexes, combo, SVB, setting up multiple Devil's Kiss attempts, finally connecting with a Devil's Kick on the announcer table. Nikki occasionally lands something decent, an X Factor, a jumping kick, a rack attack 2.0, but her pacing and body language screamed long TV match, not Stadium World title event. So it finishes off with Vaquer hitting the Devil's Kiss in the ring, follows with a Sky Twister press, and puts this thing out of its misery. We get Stephanie Vaquer retaining the Women's World Championship. Honestly, this should have been a 6 to 8 minutes sprint built to showcase Vaquer and respect Nikki. Instead, we got a long, plodding match where Nikki's limitations were obvious at this point in her career. Vaquer had to work twice as hard to get half the reaction she was hoping for. And the crowd only really cared about Vaquer's big signature spots. Nikki absolutely deserves credit for coming back, but she needed to be in tags, 6 women matches, and carefully laid out sprints during this time that she's here. Not a 12-minute singles match that felt like 20. This did nothing for Vaquer's aura as champ, and it was absolutely the bathroom break of the night. Simple. Anyway, let's move on to the main event. I haven't obviously stated, between each of these matches, ESPN decided to put a big screen that says we're on a commercial break. Between these matches, they don't do backstage segments. They don't even try to do commercials for WWE Shop, and if they do it right after this big break. And the break feels like 15 minutes long when it probably was just 5 or 10. But still, we are in an era that WWE is doing commercial breaks, like screen commercial breaks for PLEs. PLEs that people paid for, whether it's on pay-per-view or stuff like that, it's not worth it. Anyway, let's go to the final main event, men's WarGames. So we get the face team, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso versus the heel team, Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. So we start with I don't even have that many pictures for this one, so I apologize. We start with Punk versus Braun Breaker. Again, we open a supposed war with a collar and elbow tie-up. Braun does the power thing. Punk does the resilient thing. It's fine, but it still feels like a regular match in a cage. Drew McIntyre comes in and cranks the violence as the second entrant. Hockey fights with Punk, eye gouging, lawn darting Punk into the cage with Braun, grinding his face in the steel. Punk gets busted open, but the match somehow still doesn't feel truly unhinged. Cody Rhodes then enters with a busted eye from previous weeks and goes full Daredevil, climbs the cage, hits a crossbody from the top on Drew, teams with Punk for a combo offense, including a Doomsday device on Braun that looks scary on the landing. Logan Paul enters nets, brings chairs, does his high-flying thing, athletic stuff, and has a big visual spot, brawling with Cody on top of the cage before Braun whacks Cody's leg with a chair. Jimmy Uso brings a table, hits super kicks in a whisper of the wind, then gets absolutely wrecked by a claymore. Bronson Reed hits the ring and does a tsunami spam run, flattening everyone in the ring. Jey Uso comes in hot, super kicks for everyone, double super kicks with Jimmy. Then the most annoying thing happens. Then he stops mid-WarGames to have his music turned back on so he can yeet with the crowd on top of the cage. Why? It's a WarGames. We're supposed to be brutal. We're supposed to be going at each other, and he's treating it like a midlife party. This is why people are getting tired of Jey Uso. It's okay to do this when you enter, but keep spamming this, it's going to get tiring. Maybe not for kids, but for the parents that are bringing those kids. So, it wasn't a fun moment at all, but in the middle of the match, it wasn't fun. It's supposed to be heated. We're supposed to have a blood feud. So, it just felt completely undercuts the tone of this match. Then, finally, thank God, the Beast shows up. He enters with no weapons and just suplexes and F5s everybody into oblivion. For a few minutes, it finally feels like a freaking war. Punk and Cody gets thrown into the cage. Jimmy, Jay, everyone gets tossed into an F5. It's crazy. Brock grabs a chair and just destroys people with it. We wait for Roman Reigns. Brock steps out of the cage, meets Roman on the ramp, and they have their own mini match. So, for those wondering, because he stepped out of the cage, because Roman Reigns didn't enter the WarGames cage yet, the WarGames didn't actually begin, meaning the rules for the WarGames, meaning if you climb out of the cage, you get you disqualify your team and the other team wins, doesn't come into effect until Roman enters the WarGames cage. So, Brock Lesnar had every right to be able to come out. So he played with the rules of the game, which I feel like Paul Heyman told him to. And that happened. So, they have their own mini match outside at the ramp. You see Roman Superman punching. You see Brock F5ing him through the announcer table, brawling all around ringside, while everyone else is just selling forever in the cage. Once both guys finally get in, the match officially started. The WarGames finally started. And we go into the full finishing spam. F5 on Roman, broken up by Cody. GTS by Punk, Crossroads by Cody or on Brock, broken up by the Logan Paul's Frog Splash. Heyman hands Logan the brass knucks. Logan KOs Cody and Jimmy. Roman spears Logan, steals the knucks. Superman punches Reed and Drew spears Braun. Roman goes into a Superman punch to Superman punch Brock while Jay holds him. Brock hoists Jay up, and Roman spears both through the Slim Jim table. Then the finish. Braun spears both Jimmy and Jay. Punk hits GTS on Logan, goes for the pin, and then all of a sudden a mask hooded figure slides into the cage. Superman super kicks punch, hits a stomp that looks very much like Seth Rollins' style, and escapes without unmasking. Braun Breaker spears Punk and gets the 1-2-3, and you have the heels winning the WarGames match. After the match, the heels are celebrating, and you see Roman standing between the ring looking frustrated. He helps Punk up, they fist bump, both stare down Cody. Roman tells Cody this is the last time they'll ever team up, then leaves, still glaring. This match had good moments. It was never boring, but as a WarGames blow-off, it's shaky. It turned into a Brock and Roman showcase with everyone else orbiting them. The mystery attacker angle completely hijacked the finish. Nobody felt truly destroyed or vanquished. It didn't feel like a feud-ending war. It felt like an overbooked step on the way to the next chapter. If Heyman comes out of Raw claiming the Vision decimated their enemies, it's going to sound hollow. They won a big match for sure, but nothing felt settled. So let's close the pot with all this Survivor Series with a good, a bad, and ugly for Survivor Series. So the good, the hot tea, the mystery attacker keeping the hood on and hitting a Rollins style stomp is a solid short-term hook. If the reveal is strong, the angle can work. So it's a good thing that they kept it a mystery, but we will have to find out in the next coming weeks, or maybe this coming show what actually happens. Liv Morgan's return, perfectly executed. Aligning her with Dom keeps that act hot for now and give both of them direction. For how long? Who knows? Cena's retirement run was also good. For the smoke and mirrors, they figured out how to make his limited matches feel like events and get maximum value on the way out. So WWE's winning at least. The bad, pacing. The pacing of Survivor Series. 4 matches, 20-minute gaps, long video packages. For a stadium PLE, that's rough. In-ring output, no match reached all-time level. Women's WarGames and Vaquer and Bella match under-delivered badly. The main event was good, just not great. For a show that's supposed to be one of WWE's biggest of the year, this card did not feel like a music must-see classic. And now, the ugly. The root problem isn't just the show, it's its philosophy. WWE right now is a billion-dollar moments factory. Iyo's trash can dive position as this is going to go viral, and it will. Go look at TikTok right now. Jay dancing in the middle of a supposed war. Again, take a look at TikTok. Liv's return framed as a shock moment rather than the capstone of a long-running story. Mystery hooded attacker as the default button, not a special occasion. Roman, Cody, and Punk doing a dramatic tension piece at the end instead of selling the cost of losing a WarGames. No sell. There was barely any sell. If the actual wrestling and storytelling were consistently excellent, you could look past it. But they aren't right now. So the moments stop feeling like payoffs and start feeling like distractions. WWE used to say they weren't just a wrestling company. Right now, they're barely acting like a storytelling company. They're a content studio with a ring. With John Cena about to ride off for good, they're going to lose their biggest nostalgia shield at the moment. And when that happens, all the glitzy stadiums, the surprise returns, and the viral clips won't hide the cracks. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to focus less on the hashtag and more on the story. That's my thing on Survivor Series and WarGames. Let me know your thoughts. Did the women's WarGames do anything for you, or did WWE ruin this vision forever? Was Cena and Dominic's your match of the night, or just a fun circus? And who did you think was under the hood? And we getting Seth, or are we going to get something very different? If you enjoyed hanging out, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.